Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, a place where Milts can connect to one another to inspire, motivate, and collaborate to continue to build a strong and well-connected alumni association. I believe that Milton Hershey School rebranding is actually just getting started, and I want to be part of that journey. I think the best way to commemorate Milton and Catherine Hershey is to continue our own legacy that impacts the world as Milton Hershey so impacted us. I believe the level of extraordinary that each and every Milt carries within them is deeply underestimated, and this podcast will help in the journey to show off what Milts are really made of. I'm excited to get to know more Milts, more insight to their upbringing, and what they're doing now to build their legacy and bring value to others, and what being a Milt really means to them. Today I'm talking with Kelsie Steele, aka Kels Acosta, class of 2003. Kelsie believes that educating others on other cultures is one of the greatest ways of finding and maintaining new perspectives on life, which he believes ultimately leads to balance. Kelsie's traveled the world and created priceless memories while building a strong audience. It's rewarding to him to bring value and instill confidence in those looking to step outside their comfort zone and travel the globe as well. One thing he takes from it all is how to adapt and appreciate the ideas of others and how they believe life should be lived. His motto, travel further to meet the real you. So welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, Kelsie. I'm happy to have you as my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm honored that you have me here today. I really am.
No problem. Thank you for being here. I'm really glad that you're on. I have so many great questions for you. But I want to start with how old were you when you first got to MHS?
So I was about 11 years old when I got to MHS.
So what class was that? Sixth grade or seventh grade?
That was sixth grade for me.
Okay. Yeah. So what? And you came. We talked about earlier. You came from PA, but you were originally from New York.
Yeah, originally from New York. My dad and my mom kind of went separate ways. My dad stayed in New York. I went with my mom, obviously, to Pennsylvania, and then a few short years later, I landed at MHS.
Yeah. How did your mom find out about MHS?
You know what's funny? I'm actually a second generation in my family. So my uncles are twins, Anthony Steele and Alvin Steele.
And they went to MHS?
Yes, they went to MHS.
Wow, and they're much older?
They're older. So I believe, I'm not sure the year, like, is it like 70 something, like late 70s? Yeah, so I'm a second generation Steele at MHS, and now my nephew was there, so he's a third generation.
Wow, I think you might be the first person I've talked to who has 3 generations in MHS.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. That's awesome.
That's what's up. Yeah.
So when you graduated MHS, did you decide to go to college?
I did. So at the time, I decided to go to Kent State in Ohio.
Ohio. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you go all the way there?
Well, you know what? Me and another Milt, Raphael Balthazar, Raph. So me and Raph teamed up.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We took our talents to Kent State, to Ohio. Nice. But yeah, so we were there together, and it was kind of something that, we wanted to step outside our comfort zone and really leave. I think, like, being a Milt, like, we appreciated, like, living in the campus style of living. Mm-hmm. So I think it was important for us to really go to a school where we can get that real state school feel. Yeah. And that state campus. So yeah. But we went out there. It was an amazing time. We met so many amazing people. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Did you do sports in college?
Yeah, so we were doing. Me and Raph were into football when we were there.
So that's what really took you both there.
Yeah, and then life is funny, because once you start getting life experiences, you start experiencing. So I didn't finish Kent State, so I actually transferred out of Kent State after my second year.
And then
I came back to New York.
Okay, and then you said you had worked at Madison Square Garden, right, for like 10 years?
Yes. I've been at MSG. I've been at Madison Square Garden for the last 10 years.
Wow.
And that's been amazing, like working for the Knicks and for the Rangers.
Yeah.
In a sporting arena, it's different than any typical job, because you're asked to do a lot more, but just in a shorter amount of time, right? So you have to realize, like, MSG, they call it the world's most famous arena for a reason.
Yeah.
So people come from all over the world to come to this place, whether it's for music, Justin Timberlake concert, you know, Rihanna, whoever you want to name, basketball, hockey, you know, all these kind of events. So people take it seriously. So it's like Disney World when you come there, right? So you have to be on high alert. You have to, you know, anticipate what guests are going to want to do. And what I do, I'm pretty much like a host slash server.
Yeah.
So, you know, I pretty much accommodate all the celebrities and the season ticket holders who sit courtside in the club seats.
So big hospitality.
Oh yeah, for sure. Premium service, like this is New York City, you
Yeah.
know, type of hospitality. So we're able to provide that premium service to people and make a living off of it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Whereas if maybe we're in Milwaukee, it wouldn't be the same type of situation.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed to be there. I met so many amazing people there.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I go into work for 3-4 hours. People come in there, they're looking up, you know, they look like tourists, they've never been there, and they're screaming, they're yelling, you know, and I'm a Knicks fan. So
yeah,
it's my team. So that makes it even better.
Yeah, that is. It's nice to be able to go to work and it be a nice, fun environment, and then to
for sure
meet new people. So how many celebrities would you say you met in those 10 years? Probably like,
oh man, so many. I can't even, I've met so many. I've met everyone from Bill Clinton to Spike Lee.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. I'd like to meet Spike Lee. Yeah. I like.
Yo, I mean, the list goes on. You know, there's going to be so many people. I mean, awesome.
Yeah.
I've met, if you watch Orange is the New Black, Lisa Prepon, she was like Alex. She was the girlfriend, but
person. Yeah.
Okay. But the funny thing is, of all the celebrities I've met, it's like the ones you don't know their name. She's like, yo, what is it? I know this person. You're like Googling it and you're like sitting next to them, right? And then people are next to you like, isn't that the guy from? I'm like, yeah, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
But it's a cool experience, man. It's cool. It's cool to like have people, you know, of that stature, like know you on a first name basis. So, you know, it was cool.
That is cool. I mean, and I'm sure it taught you how to build, you know, relationships and be around that type of caliber of people and provide that kind of service that they're looking for. Because it's not easy to provide good service.
It's
what they like, what they might like, what they don't like, you know, and like be a good conversationalist, you know.
Absolutely. So building that rapport as soon as they come is very important, right? Establishing yourself as like, you know, as confident, you know what, and then it's consistency also. So when people continuously come back, a lot of these people are season ticket holders. So they're spending 40-50 grand on tickets, right? Per season, like
their normal good experience.
It's sometimes like it's $1,000 per seat. Yeah. So if you come with a family of 4, that's $4 grand for a night out. Right. And that's not even including food and beverages and depending on where you sit, you know. But like I said, it's all about consistency and just, you know, anticipating, knowing what people like, you know, and because it's a premium service, some people come there and they want to brag to their friends about them having service, you know. So they'll come and they'll have all their work buddies and like, oh, this is my guy Kelsie, he'll get us anything we need, and they're like amazed, you know. But it's a cool experience just to provide value to people, you know.
Yeah. I could tell that you get a lot of enjoyment out of watching and helping other people enjoy themselves, which is fun because it kind of lights you up. As soon as you said like people come in, they look like tourists, that like put a smile on your own face.
Yeah, cool. It's hard to be mean to someone who's experiencing something for the first time.
Yeah.
Right. And like if that's your job and you know, it's like little kids come up and they're like, they have a Sharpie and a basketball, like, can I get a signature? Like, and you're like, this is their first game. You know, I've had so many different experiences. I'll tell you a quick story real quick.
Yeah.
There was a Ranger game, a New York Rangers game. It's a hockey game. There was a guy who came in with his family. It was the first game, family of 4, his wife and his boy and his girl. And they come down closer towards the ice in the sections that I'm sitting at, the really good sections. They allow you to sit there while the teams are warming up. And then once the game starts, you have to go back to your seats, right? He comes to the game. And so I'm there, you know, conversing with him. And his story is basically, you know, he had a horrible scalping ticket story. And basically said he was in contact with the guy for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And, you know, he got the tickets from him.
Yeah.
You know, he spent $1,000 on the tickets. He then gets to arena, boop, they don't work.
Wow, that's
So
terrible.
now, exactly. So now he has to spend another $1,000 just to get in the arena, and they're nowhere close to the seats he would have had before.
Yeah, it's messed up.
So now he's there. He spent $2,000. This is his kid's first game, and he's like going through it. So I told him, I said, hey, listen, you know what? This is my section. I'm working here. Come check in with me in the next 20, 30 minutes. If no one's sitting here, I'll move you up into my section.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right. So the game starts. He comes back and checks with me. Yo, when I tell you, my entire section was packed except for 4 seats in the front.
Wow.
And I let him sit there. And it happened to work out like that. And it was so ironic.
Yeah.
But ever since then, me and this guy have been in contact. So it's like you could do things like that for people.
Yeah. That was for him. The universe.
For sure.
This is So you were like that. You brought that together. That's so awesome.
For sure. So it was like, I was able just to do that by just being empathetic. Yeah. Right. And willing to do something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I bet you, honestly, he probably forgot all about the scalping issue and probably was like, it worked out better.
The seats that he was sitting in was $1,500 a seat.
Wow.
You know, so yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. That was his kid's first game.
Yeah, it was their first game, so you know it's memorable for them.
Yeah,
and that's so every now and then he'll send me a text and just say, "Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?" So it's cool. Awesome. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So from there, after those 10 years, I know you said, yes, baby. Bum. I told you I'm on my appointment. Okay. No, baby, not right now, baby. When I'm done. I'm sorry, I'm gonna edit that out.
It's all good.
So once you decided, you know, to leave there 10 years later, and I know you said earlier, the onset of COVID had a lot to do with you pivoting, you know, your life into a different direction. What happened at that point?
So we were notified. We were working like March Madness was about to start, so a lot of college games come to MSG, and we had solidified a spot for March Madness. You know, that's when all the teams fill out the brackets and stuff like that. So MSG had took on a certain amount of games. So we were excited about working the March Madness. It's been a couple of years. You know, it would have been great money, great exposure. And we were notified like on March 12th that the Garden was shutting down the next day. Wow. And they didn't know when they would open up again. You know, and at that point, I'm like, okay, well, right. So the whole world was on pause. So I wasn't really shocked at first, but then I'd say like a month after, I'm like, this is really real because I also had another job. I was managing for a hotel, the Nomo Soho Hotel downtown in Soho, and for a catering company. And, you know, when everything shut down, it was because there were larger gatherings, right? So when you're working with a hotel and catering and arenas, there's too many people. Like that has to shut down. Yeah. So those were the first places to shut down. So those were my both places of employment. Right. So in a span of a month or two, it was kind of like you're home. Yeah. Everybody's home.
Like being laid off. Yeah.
Absolutely. So for me, you know, I went through the situation of like filing for unemployment and doing these things. It just so happened I had the short end of the stick. Yeah. And I didn't get through to unemployment. I didn't receive anything till about 5 or 6 months later.
Wow.
So here I am spending my savings, my life savings to keep me afloat. Right. And during that time, it really struck something in me. Yeah. Because I told myself I have to be responsible for everything in my life moving forward.
Wow, that's so good.
You know,
the big lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's beeping right now. Sorry about that.
I hear it outside.
Yeah,
backing up.
Yeah, he's backing up. I'll wait for him to leave. Definitely.
But, yeah, last week I had nothing but construction out here. They were doing like new pipes. And I had another recording set up, so I had to move it because all you heard was that, just the singing and thing. Yeah.
It was a lot. Yeah. It's New York City. I got to deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, so it struck something in me and I said I have to be able to, you know, take control of my own destiny. Yeah. And at that time, I had already been traveling and documenting some of my stories and adventures. but I never really put it into something tangible that I could produce and give to people, right? So they can take it with them wherever they go.
Right.
But what I realized during that time, I wasn't receiving any money, any type of income. I was living off of my savings.
Yeah.
So I told myself, if I'm here providing for myself, then I have to, like, I don't want to be at home dwelling on what could have, should have, what could have happened.
Right.
I have to go and create something myself.
Right.
Create something for myself. And doing the vlogging and the YouTube, it allowed me to go out and to connect with people. Yeah. So I disconnected from the social media world and all these kind of things, and I went out into the real world. And I created a web series. I created a web series. It was called Corona TV NYC.
I saw that. Yes,
seen that?
I remember watching that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Of course, perfect timing, but like, that was so smart that you used what was happening, what was big, what was trending, what everybody wanted to know more about, and like put that into something that was happening.
Absolutely.
New York at the time was, I mean, it was hit bad. So everybody wanted to know about New York, especially. Yeah, that was so good. That was so good. So
thanks.
Tell me about that.
I appreciate that. So what happened was, pretty much, I was doing the travel thing. I was doing the travel vlogging, and I was a bit discouraged because, like, yo, it's Corona. Like, you can't go anywhere. Everything is shut down. I can't travel anywhere. And I'm telling myself I can't create any content, right? And because I can't go anywhere and I can't film these things. And then I got into a guy named, here he goes again.
Yeah, Zamina. I'm gonna take this time too. Zamina, stop, baby, please. No noise. I told you. Okay. I like what you built over there. No more noise, okay? You want to watch cartoons on my phone? No. Okay. You want to come sit on my lap? No. Okay. Okay. You sure you don't want to sit on my lap?
Where's this guy back? Okay, there he goes. Okay. So I got into this guy, Gary V. And pretty much he's like
I love Gary V. Yep.
You already know.
I've been following him for years. Yes.
Okay. So he's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And I followed him, and every day I woke up and he has a thing called Tea with Gary V. And it was like at 8, 9 in the morning, and he'd live stream for 2 hours. He would answer people's questions and provide value that way. Yeah. Right. So I got into that heavy, and he pretty much just dropped gems for people to really get them motivated. But his end goal is to stop watching his videos and go do what he's telling you to do. Yeah. Right. So and he said something that stuck with me also. And he said, if you can't create, then just document. Right. Yeah. So I took that and I said, you know what? I can't travel and I can't create these vlogs, but let me document what's going on in New York City right now. So then I decided to create Corona TV NYC, which is going around to different neighborhoods in New York and asking people their experience, what it's like, who's been the support system, how they're doing with money. And every week it would vary, based upon what was going on. And it was amazing, the people that I connected with, and just stepping outside of my comfort zone. Like, this is Corona. Yeah. Like, Corona just started. Right. Mind you, I'm out in the street
interviewing people.
Interviewing people, and they're like, bro, but it was something that I had to do. I risked my health. Yeah. I ran into people that were nurses that volunteered to come from upstate, like were full of tears, saying that, they've been on 2 hospital floors and everyone is on ventilators. Wow. And seeing that type of experience. But so I took that Corona TV NYC and ran with it. I created about 15 episodes. Yeah. And it was a weekly thing. And that is what drove me to go out and create something bigger than myself. Yeah. Right. And I start to understand what it meant to provide value. Yeah. Right. Because people are at home, they're depressed, they're not thinking in the right state of mind. So me going out and interviewing people just like them allows them to see that you're not going through it by yourself. Everyone has an issue or a challenge. It's all about how you react to it,
So good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And what kind of feedback did you get from that first initial type vlogging that you did?
Man, I it was a lot of like great feedback,
Yeah,
and I also learned from Gary Vee that at a point in time, you don't you don't want to be concerned too much about what others think of you,
right,
right? Or too hung up on their opinions.
right,
So for me, I was laser focused. I was like, I want feedback because that's what's going to help me grow and make me
yeah,
become better.
yeah,
But it was like, I'm going to do this regardless,
exactly. Yeah,
right? And there would be days I would have not like panic attacks, but I would be here at home like, yo, I have to go out and like get in people's face and interview them. Like I didn't really want to do that sometimes.
right, right,
But I said, this is bigger than myself. There's someone out there right now who hasn't received unemployment for 4 or 5 months, like myself,
right, right.
who doesn't have an outlet, right?
Mm.
And just to kind of, I just wanted to people to start creating conversations amongst their friends and family,
Yeah,
which is
understood.
healthy.
Yeah,
But I received great feedback. People were telling me, I can't believe you're out on the street, be safe, wear a mask. It's great what you're doing. And then, obviously everyone that, participated in this series, they told their friends. And so it was a cool thing is I kind of, engaged my audience members on like through Instagram and through Facebook. So every week I would give 4 options of locations to go. So maybe either Midtown or Lower East Side or Soho or
yeah,
Brooklyn. And then my audience members would choose the location that I would go to every
yeah.
week.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're
That's
kind of
so,
engaged.
yeah,
Yeah, so they were engaged with it. Yeah, for sure.
exactly. Yeah, and then you're responding to that engagement. So creating that relationship with your audience. Yeah.
Absolutely. And everyone who voted, when the episode came out, I would then send them a DM, say, hey, you voted for this place. This is where we're going. Here's
Right.
the video,
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from there, you just continued to expand. What was next?
What was next after that? So I did a couple of different things on my channel. I did some music stuff. I created a lo-fi locations, which is basically a 30-minute like commercial-free music
Okay.
to help you study, to help you work out, to
Ah,
help you relax.
yeah.
So what I did was I created it's like virtual travel.
Yeah.
So every song, I would take the song and I would create a theme. So every episode is 30 minutes long, so it's about 13 songs each. I would
Okay.
take each song, I would create a theme around that song. So if the song is called like Waves, maybe that song would be dedicated to like ocean waves.
Mhm.
And then I would take footage and I would collage it from all over the world.
Nice.
I would go from, South Africa, oceans to Australia. And
Yeah.
pretty much every song was a theme. And I created a 30-minute commercial free music that you could like just relax and
Yeah.
watch.
Nice.
There's no words. It's just relaxing music.
Right. Yeah. Because
Because
sound
that's
is
what
such a big deal now. Yeah. Lots of people are getting into
the
just,
lo-fi, yeah,
yeah, sounds. Yeah.
for
Is that what
sure.
that's called? It's called lo-fi?
Lo-fi, yeah,
Okay.
lo-fi.
Yeah.
And
Because
I got it.
I
And
use that to go to sleep.
yo, so
So,
that's what I created it for. And
yeah.
I have 10 different ones in season 1, and
Yeah.
they're all a little bit different. So it's kind of like it's what helped me out because I thought, how can I provide value to people? And how does it align with what I'm doing? I love music. I'm an artist. I
Mm.
love to travel. So then I would just create these playlists. And it's like when I wake up, the first thing I do is either I read or I work out.
Mhm.
So when I work out, I can put these playlists on.
Right.
I can see these places, whether it's Bora Bora or Maldives, or
Yeah.
if it's Turkey or Istanbul, anywhere. You're
Yeah.
seeing these places and they're intertwined with music, and it's keeping you going. It's keeping you motivated. I work out to them. I read
Yeah.
to them. I do a lot to them. So I was doing that, which was pretty cool. I did some motivational stuff. And I
Yeah.
think what really kind of took me to the next level was like doing the food vlogs,
Mm.
going around New York City, looking for the best pizza spots,
Yeah.
the best cheap eats,
Yeah.
going to the markets and the open air markets and like vlogging that stuff. And I think people love food. Everyone has to
Love.
eat,
Yes.
you
Love,
know?
love, love food. Yeah. You can't go
Mhm.
wrong talking about food. You just can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And so many people love New York, especially if they're outsiders and they want to go and visit. But then when they get there, they just don't know where to go. And like the traditional websites, TripAdvisor, all these other little websites aren't going to be as detailed or as like down to earth, the real deal as a YouTuber like you who goes out and goes there, vlogs about it, and shows the real life experience of it, you know? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's so good. Because I myself, I want to go to New York and I just want to go there and eat. Like, I just want to go get good food, know exactly where to go, how to get there, how it's going to be, what I'm going to expect.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want. So being able to watch a real life YouTube video of someone else doing exactly what I want to do to the T is so useful.
Exactly. And that's the world that we live in now. Like YouTube is, when you want to learn how to do something, you go to YouTube, you'll get an in-depth, you know, description of how to go somewhere or how to do something.
Right.
And it's like going to these places and the kind of feedback that I get, it's so funny because I'll label an episode Best Pizza in New York City and I'll go to like 3 different places. And there's a million pizza places in New York City, right? And it's like, I know that people want to reach out and be like, no, you're not going to the best places, right? But this is what I want. I want people to engage, right? And to be interested and say, you know, you only stayed in Manhattan, like you haven't even had real pizza till you come to Brooklyn, right? So it gives me opportunity to then create more content and say, okay, you know what? Next episode we'll go to Brooklyn and let me know, you know, drop some suggestions. And people from all over, people from Canada, from all over the world say, I'm coming to New York next week. I'm going to try this place, right? So I take a little bit of pride in that too, you know, so it's cool.
That is very cool. That is so cool to do that. Yeah. And it's cool that your audience keeps coming back, you know, because you keep engaging them to then come back. You're involving them, you're taking their suggestions.
Absolutely.
So that's so good. Because that's what Gary did. It's what he was like, he got his audience engaged. He started to mentor them, give them advice, and then said, now you go and do.
Absolutely. And that's
experience.
And one of my things I firmly believe is that when you learn things for yourself and then when you learn things to then turn and teach other people, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Right? It's because when you learn things for yourself, like, okay, I'm just gonna learn it. But if you know that you're gonna like pay it forward and teach other people, you learn differently.
Totally.
Right. So I've been doing that and I've been helping out so many people start their own YouTube channel.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Like one of the guys from your class, Joannis Hadagwa.
Oh yes. Yep. Yeah.
I've been helping him start his YouTube channel. Now it's flourishing. Yeah. He's doing well.
That's awesome. So you helped him to get onto that platform.
Absolutely. We were out there.
I saw you guys. Was it Ghana that you guys?
Yeah, we were in Ghana together. We went to Ghana together. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And he is working with it. Now I'm watching his videos. He's traveling all around. He just did one like the a typical Airbnb.
Yeah.
And it's again, that's what people want. Like they want to see exactly what they are going to probably experience. You know, they want to see it live, someone else doing it, not a website telling them the overall reviews or pictures. They want to see someone there today, like last week. What this looked like last week.
Absolutely.
That's so good.
You know, so
it's awesome that you guys, you see the trend, you see the next, you know, platform technology, where it's going and how people are using it, and then you jump on that bandwagon.
For sure. Yeah, that's the way. If you want to reverse engineer things sometimes in life, because if it works already, then it's going to work for you. It's just about how you apply yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. So then from there, did you continue on? I know you said you're doing the traveling vlogging now. So from food, which do you still do that as you go out and stuff? Are you still doing the food vlogging?
So this is my thing. So I've been back in New York for a short period of time, maybe less than a week by now. I've been all over, but I already filmed my new food video, one of my newest ones, and I'll probably go film another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still doing that. So that's the cool thing with my channel is that, you know, typically you go to YouTube, people are very niche down. So if you go to their channel and they're working out, they're just a workout person, right? Or if they do food, they just do food reviews.
Yeah.
Or if they do travel vlogging, they maybe tap into that, you know, do a little bit of it while they're traveling, but they don't really go and right. So my channel, it's cool because I can do this it's more of a lifestyle channel.
Yeah.
Right. So while I'm away, people are looking forward to, while I'm traveling, where to go, where to stay, what to eat, where to party, what to do from a tourist perspective.
Yeah.
And then when I'm back here home, it's like, okay, now let's go out, let's find some cheap eat spots, let's find the best pizza, let's find, who makes the best ice cream, or who has the best vegan food, right? So, and people gravitate towards it because everyone has to eat. And I think I've created something where it's like it's more than just a food review, because I'm actually talking to the owners. How's your business doing during COVID? These kind of things. Yeah.
Good job. Wow, bravo for that. That's so good.
You already know. Yeah.
So good. So the traveling, where have you been? Tell me all the places you've been so far.
We might be here for a while.
Cool.
I'll tell we might be here for a while. I'll tell you some. I mean, but the good thing is about, like, I'm always looking to travel to more places, and I don't care if you've been to 100 countries, there's still more places you can go to. But I've been to for sure. I've been to Mexico 3 times already. I love Mexico. This is a Mexico jersey. Shout out to Mexico. Mexico is an amazing place. But like I said, I've been to Mexico 3 times. I've been to Thailand. I've been to Turkey.
Wow.
I've been to Spain. I've been to London, Amsterdam, Scotland. I've been to Belize, Honduras, Cayman Islands. Like so many places, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico. The list goes on. I have a few more. Obviously Africa, Ghana, Morocco.
Morocco, very cool.
Yeah,
so when you go, you've tried all the food, obviously. God, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I do try. I try the food, but I'm not gonna front. Off camera, I'm a little scary sometimes. Like I have to know what it is.
Yeah.
What it, I'm a little particular. I'm not picky, but I'm particular.
Yeah.
So I need to know what's spicy. Like I don't really do seafood. Seafood's not my thing.
Okay.
So I need to know before I start. The camera starts rolling, but I do get to try a lot. Yeah.
That's good. That soup that you and Joe had tried, Ghana, that soup looked freaking ridiculous.
Oh, the groundnut soup. It's like peanut soup.
Oh, peanut soup. Okay, I've had peanut soup before, and it put me right to sleep. It actually put me directly to sleep, like a baby for like 12 hours.
Exactly. That's exactly what it does to you. It's so good.
What that was? How funny.
Yeah, it was good. That's actually a video that we made, how to eat with your hands, trying African food.
Yeah.
And that was an experience for sure.
That's funny.
But
it always makes everybody, want to experience what you're experiencing. It's one of those things, and it brings people together. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's always good to incorporate that in what you're doing. But you incorporating also when you go to these restaurants and interviewing the owner, that is like so smart and so necessary.
Yeah. It's the thing that differentiates me, I believe, in a lot of my content, because a lot of people will get the food and then just sit down, tell you how the food is, and then just keep it moving.
Exactly.
For me, it's like, okay, for example, I went to a cheap eat spot in Upper East Side. It's a wing place. And I walk in, and initially the guy's sitting right there on the laptop. And I introduced myself before I really start recording. Just like, hey, I'm a YouTube vlogger. I want to come and like kind of shout out your spot. I did some research, and I want to see if it lives up to the hype.
Yeah.
And long story short, this guy turns out being the owner.
Yeah.
Right. The owner and the creator of the actual place. He gives me the food on the house. We have a great conversation about how his business been during COVID. He told me more about the product and the food that you can't just make that stuff up, right? Like if you're eating it, you don't know unless you're talking to someone who really is, in there. So it's just those kind of things. It's special. And then you have, people. This is free promotion. People would have to pay for these kind of things.
Absolutely,
yeah.
So one of the questions that I had for you was what brought you into entrepreneurship, and I think part of it was obviously COVID. And them abruptly stopping your income. And then the other part is, do you think you always knew that you would have been an entrepreneur, or do you think that just kind of happened and you were like, okay, I could do this?
Okay, that's a pretty good question. I would like to say that I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, right? Like at like knowing that I'm capable of doing things. I don't have to rely on other people. And that's the biggest thing that YouTube has taught me, right? Is that you have to be able to, you have to really want to learn. Right. So when I wanted to start doing vlogging, right, I wasn't a cameraman, but I had to learn how to use the camera. Right. I wasn't an on-air personality, right? But I had to brush up on my skills and watch other people and learn how to be entertaining. Right. I had to learn, you know, how to create a video from start to finish, like what a writer does, what a producer does, what a director does. You know, go to these places. This is what I have to say when I go here. These are questions I have to ask if I run into an owner, you know. So producing all this stuff, you know, editing the actual video at the end of the day. Like I edit back from Hershey. Shout out to Mrs. Gert, you know, Jane Gert helped me out, you know. Right. And that's something, so that's the ironic thing. I let go of editing since I was 17 years old. I didn't pick it back up till about 3 years ago. Right. Wow. And I'm 35. Right. So I'm able to still pick up where I left off and become a videographer, right? Be a writer, a producer, a director, you know, and do all this stuff. But I had to learn. I had to learn it. And I think that's what an entrepreneur does. Like he takes something, you know, he obviously wants to innovate and either make it better or he wants to create something. So just creating something for myself and then understanding that I could pay it forward and show others how to create their own lane or their own avenue is what really drove me over the top to really get it done.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Give me the overall mission and the vision for your business.
Definitely to help our culture see the world. You know what I mean? And culture, I use that loosely because, you know, that applies to so many different things in my life and who we are. Like your culture could be your close niche of or your close group of friends, or your culture could be your family, or your culture could be, you know, people you work with, going on business outings or, you know, these kind of things with. So just helping different types of cultures see the world, whether they like to travel, whether that like if they're avid travelers or if they don't travel or if they're afraid to fly, or, you know, I have a board like right here in front of me and I always put 3 things to help me identify with people to see things from different perspectives in their point of view, like what makes traveling fun, you know, why you should travel and why people don't travel. Right, because then I know how people are thinking and then I could approach my content off of that. I have why people don't travel. Number 1, it's too expensive. Right. Number 2, they don't know how to or where to go. Right. Number 3, they don't find or create the time to do it. Right. Number 4, fear. Right. So keeping these things in mind allows me to be on the surface level with everyone else. Right. And this is why I create content like, you know, the same Airbnb you talk, me and Joe stay in that same Airbnb. You know, what $25 a night Airbnb looks like. Because that resonates with people. Right. And you can have an amazing video, the world's most expensive, you know, luxury stay. Right. But out there are more people that are looking to budget than are looking to do that.
Exactly. Because
right.
I've seen so many like travel vloggers who they show like these unbelievable places where like a volcano meets a lake and they're diving in the lake and you're like, where is this? Like, and what is this? This is gonna cost like $1 million. It's so unreal. And it's absolutely, you know, people don't even know where in the world, and it takes like 3 planes to get there. Like, it's so unrealistic. And I think these days people want more realistic so that they feel, oh, I can do this. Because when I look at those videos, I'm like, I'll never be able to do this. Like, unless I have a person who specifically takes me there, you know, I wouldn't even know where to start to find
exactly. And then they're going to charge you for that guy to take you there anyway.
Like, it's so unrealistic.
And that's why
appeal the look of it. But
absolutely. And that's why I love to make content that resonates with people, because when you say, here's what a $30 a night Airbnb looks like, people love that. And they, you know how many times people reached out to me via email, yo, what's the name of that spot? Can I stay there? Like, you know what I mean? And you can help provide these kind of things to people, because if they're traveling and they're counting their dollars, right? You kind of want to allocate some money to where you stay. It's one of the most important things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So if you know I can spend $30 a night and I'm staying for 7 nights,
Yeah.
that's going to help you budget to do other things versus spending $100 a night in a resort.
Exactly. Yeah.
If not more. Yeah.
If not way more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then you're looking for something all inclusive because you don't want to have to spend any more money on, all the other things that you naturally will need to spend money on when you travel. Food.
Absolutely. And I'm a travel vlogger that I don't stay on resorts because I love the unbeaten path, because I think like that's the idea of traveling. Yeah. It's like, I do get that everyone travels differently, and sometimes you want things that are pre-screened. Like if you want to go on an excursion to certain places, it's okay to go pre-screened because you want to be ensured that it's safe.
Safety, yeah.
Yeah, you want to get there and get back safely.
Right.
Right. So I understand that. But there's things like, for example, when I went to Ghana,
same exact homemade, authentic food in a resort than you're gonna get in a normal little shack that is right there in the neighborhood. To an Airbnb that you rented. Yeah.
Absolutely. You're going to have mass-produced food. It's not to say that it's not great food, but we're going, like, when you go to Ghana and you eat jollof rice, like, it takes like an hour to make jollof rice. It takes a while. And that's kind of one of the things. They call it GMT time. It's called Ghana man time, but they call it also Ghana maybe time. Because it's like they're always late for something. Yeah. If they tell you to come through for a dinner party at 6, don't show up at 6, show up at 8.
Right.
That's how they're very relaxed in their state of living.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's good. I like the realistic approach because I think that's what people want these days now. They don't want to just look at pictures and live vicariously through the pictures. They want to feel like, oh, I see this and I see myself going there for sure. Because they can see it and it's more realistic to them. Yeah,
they know that the meals are going to cost $3-4, right? And if you see someone and they're telling you that, it's different than researching it, because you got to see it to believe it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in this time that you've started the vlogging on your own, what do you think has been your biggest challenge?
That's good. I mean, I've come across a lot of challenges. And it's really finding the time to really, to be consistent and keep creating. Like I said before, like I am a one-man band.
Yeah.
Right. So I do a lot of different things. So now that my channel is really seeing some success and taking off, I'm going to have to be real with myself and start delegating tasks.
Yeah.
Right. And start allowing other people, start building my team, allowing other people to help me out.
Yeah.
Right. And that comes from like knowing how to build a team. Right. Knowing how to trust people. Right. Because I'm an editor. So I edit all my videos a certain way. That's my thing. Right. But editing is probably the most time consuming thing of YouTubing.
Right.
So I can sit at a computer for 8-10 hours at a time and just edit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's so much time that I can recoup if I could delegate that task to someone.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I say one of the biggest challenges is just being able to compartmentalize and make time for everything. I have been able to do it, but it's been a challenge for sure though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge, because a lot of times entrepreneurs start as the lonely only, and then as they grow, as they start to expand, they have to kind of relinquish some of that control to other people so that they can do more of what they're good at, what they're there for, to expand, to innovate more, and then delegate the tasks that are more time consuming to those who, that's what they do. That's
absolutely
their job.
That's exactly how I feel.
It's hard to relinquish that control in the beginning, because like you said, I like to edit a certain way, and
it's your baby. So you're kind of like whoa, like bro, hold your arm differently. Like you're not holding the head right. You know what I mean? Right. So and that's kind of how you feel.
Right.
But when you start to understand that it's not just about you and you're helping others, seek opportunities and build these type of characteristics, like, you know, knowing how to meet deadlines and, you know, and just doing what's asked of you, and sometimes even going, you know, above and beyond. Like, you know, it's cool to really like collab and work with people, because it builds character.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they say if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
Yes. That's
Right.
really
So
good. Yeah. I
yeah.
love that.
Hmm.
So during this time, or even before then, do you find yourself, first of all, what type of self-development do you do now and how often do you do it?
Self-development every day.
Yeah, good.
Every day. Like it's like a shower for me. Like
Yeah.
I'm in constant search of it, like for real, straight up. Like, you know, and it really is, it's a lot to really take on the task.
Yeah.
But once you start holding yourself accountable for everything in your life, you don't make excuses anymore, right? Or you don't place the blame on someone else to say, this is why this is happening to me.
Right.
You know, so it's like every day, like I'm conscious, like, you know, I love to read, but I don't read as much as I used to when I was like really on it, but I still make the time for it. I like to read. Um, like I said, I like to edit, get my mind for things. I love to work out,
Yeah.
you know, and I love to go out and just be amongst others, to like kind of live life and then have something to really take in and then give to others.
Yeah.
You know, so every day I'm in search of that self-improvement.
Yeah.
And you know, whether if I have to go and binge YouTube videos for 2 hours
Yeah.
to give me that spark to get me going for the week, I'll do it. So whatever it is, and that's, I feel like I've just been isolating myself from a lot of the outside world and just focusing on, you know, the only thing that matters to me, and that's like providing value and growing my brand.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. What would you say, speaking of brand, if you were to put a few sentences together or a description of your brand, what would you say your brand is?
I would say my brand is an opportunity to get to know yourself,
Mm.
right? So you can kind of live vicariously through me.
Uh-huh.
My brand is also something that wants to empower people, right? To be knowledgeable and make the right choices,
Yeah. I think
right? Because
like value on not just living your best life, but like also encouraging others to live their best life because
yeah,
that makes you happy. Like
yeah,
I totally
it
see
does,
that.
for
I see
sure.
that in you. Every little smile, you crack like these little smiles
Yeah,
when you mention it, when you
yeah,
mention other people living their best life or being happy.
for
Yeah,
sure,
it
for
makes
sure.
me smile. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have nowadays, is that a lot of people are consumed in what
Yeah,
others are doing
yeah,
or how they're perceived. And
right.
I feel like when you really start to focus on who you are, right, what makes you tick,
Yeah.
and then how you can start to help other people,
Mm.
then the outside noise kind of like it dies down a little bit,
Yeah,
right? And you don't really become dependent on that to fuel you, right? You're not fueled by somebody saying you can't do something.
right,
You know, you want to be fueled by people saying you can do things. Like
right.
you want to surround yourself with that type of environment,
Yeah,
right? And just really taking accountability for every action, decision, and choice that you make, you know?
absolutely. Yeah, your association and your level of accountability is so crucial.
Mm-hmm.
The type of people you surround yourself with, are they, driven? Are they vision oriented? Are they
Yeah.
stagnant? Are they thinkers of the past? Are they,
Mm-hmm.
innovators like yourself? Are they supportive? Because again, you're the average of the people that you hang out with, the 5 or 6
Yeah, absolutely.
out with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Association is so key. And I love
Mm-hmm.
that you keep going back to accountability because that's such a good characteristic of a strong entrepreneur is taking accountability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to. I believe that that's the only way that you could really understand, you know, on how to control your own destiny,
Yeah.
right? And I think that comes from like I love that people work for other people. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? If that makes you happy, then I'm happy for you.
Right.
But I think a lot of things that people do, like they do it because, they're conditioned to go to work and be like, they're told what to do.
Right.
Right. And some people don't know how to live outside of that. That's why when people work from home, they get a little funny style. Your bosses don't want you to work from home because people don't know how to act. Right.
Right.
But now we live in a place where we have to recondition ourselves in the world that we live in. Like you have to work from home now.
Right.
Right. And now your bosses probably get it a little more like, I trust you to work from home. I have no choice but to trust you.
Right.
Right. So now I think, people, they've either learned to take accountability or they've kind of shied away from it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we have to get in the habit of being more aware. Like, is this what I want? Is this benefiting me? Or is this taking me to where I want to be? My husband always says, people without vision will perish. Like it's in the Bible, people without vision will perish. And it's so true.
Yeah.
Like people are, like you said, conditioned to go to job, go to college, finish college, get a job, stay there for 40 years, retire and make less money than we were even making most of our lives. Because now we're, taking just 40% of what our normal, and because our expensive has been reduced. But it's such a, and I don't want to say small because so many people do this and they're very happy. But if you break out of that box, if we're thinking even bigger, it's such a small way of thinking because we've never unlearned things of the past and relearned like things that are evolving. Like
Absolutely.
colleges probably really won't exist in the next 25 years, more entrepreneurs are being born every single day. Me personally, I don't think I would really encourage my daughter to go to college unless she wanted to be something very specific, like a surgeon, you have to go to school for something like that. But
for sure,
a lot of what I'll teach her is be true to yourself. And there is no box that you have to fit into. You don't go to college, who the hell cares? And that's coming from someone who has 3 degrees. I have a bachelor's and 2 masters, and I still went into entrepreneurship. So I look back at my degrees and I'm like, that was a lot of money. And
a lot of money.
And then I went this way, and this way was so much happier for me. Because I questioned, is this really what I want? Or am I living in fear? Am I just looking for a fake security? Like our fake security is this job, it's this paycheck. But like you had that enlightening situation where you practically got laid off. And had that not happened, maybe it wouldn't have clicked that, listen, I always knew I could have been an entrepreneur. Now's the time,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, boom, now's your time, Kelsie. What you've always should have been is what's going to happen now,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point. And I believe in that too. Like there's 2 types of people. Like there's types of people that want to go back to security. And there's another type of person that wants to go forward towards growth.
Yeah. And there's a lot of risk in growth.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with security.
Yeah.
Like if you're 65 and you don't want to be out there like wishing, hoping, and praying,
right?
Get your 401k. Get your, like I understand that. Like everyone's built differently, but I think that growth is always the answer.
Yeah.
Right. And denying the inevitable, like what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Right. You're going to hit 50 at one point. You're going to hit 60 and 70 at one point as well.
Yeah.
And, so I think that doing what makes you happy is the most important thing. Right. Like, but when you're broke, love won't get you on the bus. But at the same time, having conversation with the bus driver to say, hey, listen, I'm going through a tough time right now. I'll get you back next time, and having that ability to connect with people and understand that you can use your resources to get a lot of things, but and this is the thing, like you want to be able to just continue to try to provide value for people in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's good that you keep going back to giving value to people, because that's what it's all about. In the end, we're just servants of each other. The more you could serve someone else, the better off that you'll be as a person. It's more fulfilling.
For sure.
When you feel that you're in some way giving to someone else. Yeah. It's just in our nature.
Yeah, and you're doing it because you want to do it, not because nothing is expected of anyone else.
Yeah. Very good
Yeah.
perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how do you think you've grown as an individual during this time of business ownership?
Um, I've definitely grown in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like I said before, like taking accountability,
Yeah.
like is probably the number one thing. Like I can't blame anything on like on my internet speed,
Yeah.
or I can't blame it on like, oh, I don't feel like it today. You know, like we
Right.
make so much stuff up,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like,
Yeah.
I'm honest. I'm being honest right now.
Yeah.
I've read,
That's so good.
right? I read a book. It's called, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Oh yes. Hold on. I got that.
You have that book? Yo, that
I
is
love this book.
yeah, Dr. Shad Helmstetter. That is an
Yes.
amazing
Such a
book.
good book.
I love that book,
Yes.
right? That's fire that we have that in
Yeah,
common.
it really makes you think, like,
Yes,
how have I been talking to myself?
exactly. And it's like, how do you talk to yourself? And that gets you
Yeah,
through a lot.
yeah,
And that book helped me to understand how I talk to myself, what I believe is capable. And like everything starts with your inner talking, your inner self.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's crazy you have that book though. That's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love
Uh-huh.
that. I love that you do all this self-development because
Yeah.
it's so key as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're not self-developing, you'll probably quit after 3 months of entrepreneurship.
For
Like,
sure.
yeah, it'll just
Yeah.
be too hard and your mindset won't be able to handle it because you're
Yeah.
not feeding it the right things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's crazy.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
so. If you were to give two pieces of advice to someone starting their entrepreneurial journey, what do you think you'd tell
Man. One, I give a lot more than two. That's kind of what YouTube vloggers do. Like we give you mad tips on everything because that's how we keep content going. You keep watching.
them?
But I would give two. One, um, advice to entrepreneurs that's coming out is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just starting
Um,
their journey.
starting their journey. One, I'd say reverse engineer.
Mhm.
Take things that are working right now. Take things that people that are interested in, that can help provide value to people. Find someone who's doing it at a high level. Look at their macro and then research and study their micro,
Yeah,
right? And kind of come back. So if they're here, so if you want to be a personal speaker or motivational speaker, look at someone like Eric Thomas or maybe even a Gary Vee,
yeah,
right? Look at where they are now. Look at the impact that they have. And if that's something that you want to commit yourself to giving to other people or providing to other people, then you can work your way back,
yeah,
right? You say, okay, what are
yeah.
the things that people have done, like Gary Vee or Eric Thomas, to get to this point?
Right.
Well, I see that he had a daily morning show where he answered questions for people. I see that he had a weekly vlog where he showed you all of his business appointments in that week and everything he accomplished.
Yeah.
I see that he meets up with other creators and has sit downs, right? And there's so many things you could take from people
Right.
and really just be eclectic.
Yeah.
Take what works for you. If you're not great, at like meeting up with 10 people at a time, do a one-on-one,
Yeah.
right? Have a Zoom meeting or don't be afraid to get your thoughts out there. So number one, definitely reverse engineer. Take someone that you admire or that you feel is at a level you want to be at, and then look at everything they've done to get there and work your way back.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah. Because you can't fail that way. You can't
Right.
fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like so unattainable. Like,
Hmm.
so you're obviously not gonna get to where they are tomorrow, where, some people, they look at that person, they're like, oh my God, I'll never get there. But like you said, they didn't look at the in between. They're just seeing who
Absolutely.
that person is now. But who was that person 10 years ago when they first started? Yeah, that's so good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reverse engineering it, so that would be my first tip of advice.
Yeah.
My second tip of advice, I probably have to say, create more self-awareness,
Mhm.
right? And don't care too much about what other people think,
Yeah.
right? Because I can give you the formula. I can tell you I can give you a template to whatever, But these kind of things, like we just talked about with the book,
Yeah.
like creating self-awareness and not focusing on what other people think
Right.
is going to empower you and going to give you so much more. Self-esteem is worth more than $1 million.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And getting yourself on the right track is going to allow you to keep going. Now, you might go 10 miles an hour, you might go 60 miles an hour, but as long as you're on the right track.
Right.
You know what I mean? So creating self-awareness for yourself, understanding who you really are, and not really trying to, become someone or be someone you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. You don't have to voice it with the world. That's a conversation you need to have with yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And work towards being a better person. And then, and just not focus and have the blinders on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Because a lot of times, as much as we love our friends and family and stuff like that, a lot of times they could be our biggest critics. Whether it's fear-based, or are you sure you want to start this business? Are you sure you want to go that way? Are you sure you want to go find another job? Are you sure this is the right path? A lot of times it can be a lot of negative talk to slow us down. And then a lot of times we're spinning our wheels, our energy, trying to make everybody else happy or please everyone. Whereas if we're just, like you said, true to ourselves, that energy is better spent, internally.
Very true.
And wherever it falls, it falls.
The interesting thing is that people who've never done something will always tell you how to do it.
Right.
Right. And it's like, you've never done it. You've never attempted it. Like you don't do this, And that's the funny thing about life, right? And that's why I feel like you have to stay curious, and keep wanting to find out things and how to make things better, including yourself.
Yes, that's so good. I'll always be curious, always be to learn. Yeah. I learned that too. The moment you think you know everything is obviously the moment you're not going to learn anything further.
Sure.
Yeah, always be curious is very another good characteristic of a entrepreneur. Yeah.
100%.
So I know you don't have kids, right, Kelsie?
No kids, no kids.
So as far as family life, do you just have family in New York that you visit often, or?
I have family in New York. I see every now and then. I haven't seen them in a little while. COVID's kind of had everyone in their shell.
Yeah.
But I have family all over. I have family, here in New York. I have family in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I have family in Florida, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, all over. In North Carolina, all up and down the Northeast, so yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's nice to have family. I do too. I have family all over the place, but it's nice, then you always have a place to visit,
Yeah, for sure.
I have a brother in Dubai. I have a brother and a sister, and my mom in Cali. I have two sisters here in Pennsylvania. So I can, wherever I want to go, I can go. And then that's a part of being a Milt too, is you have extended family everywhere too.
Oh, for sure. You already know.
So that's always good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
So do you see yourself, marrying soon or having kids soon? And if so, how do you think your business ownership will affect that family life?
That's a great question. That's something I've been thinking about recently, and the more we start to mature, you start having those questions like, okay, well, where am I going to be in the next couple of years? What does my life look like? Because as an entrepreneur, you have to ask those questions.
Yes.
Right. And I think that finding balance allows you to navigate life easier. So it's not just asking those questions in business. It's asking those questions in your personal life, right? Asking those questions from, acquaintances to friends, who's around me? Is this person helping me? Are they hurting me?
Right.
Where's my growth here? What is it? Over time, things change and people change.
Yeah, absolutely.
So right now, I'm definitely looking forward to, to having, a family of my own.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the best thing we can do as people is to be prepared for opportunity when it presents itself.
Yeah.
So that deals with self-work, right? Knowing who you are as a man, or as a woman, right? What type of value you provide, where your strengths are, what things do you need to work on? Right. As an individual and in a relationship.
Yeah.
Right. And what type of parent will you be? you
Yeah.
know, right? Are you able to control your own mental lapses?
Right.
If not, how do you control someone else's?
Right.
Because they're going to learn from what you do. You know, kids don't do what you say, they do what you do.
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely true. Yes.
Yeah. So for me, like I've been like really like it's a challenge. I love it
Yeah.
because I'm like able to just be like, okay, well, I gotta step my game up. And it's like me helping myself, you know, level up
Yeah.
always makes me feel better about myself and where I'm going in the future.
That's so good. Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's also human nature is our happiness. Everyone thinks happiness is something like you get to, but
Mhm.
I think happiness is the journey of you always feeling like you're somehow progressing daily.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really to me what happiness is. Progress in some way, whether
Yeah.
that's mental progress, physical progress in your body, spiritual progress.
Yeah.
You're progressing as a whole, as a family, monetary progress, whatever that your progress is, meeting
Mhm.
daily goals, you just keeping little promises to yourself. I feel like that is happiness. That's fulfillment.
Sure. For
Um,
sure.
and like you said, the fact that you love being challenged is such a good, it's a very strong characteristic.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I agree. And I agree with what you said. Like happiness is not something you get to. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like happiness is the bus ticket.
Yeah.
Like happiness gets you on the bus, and it's
Yeah.
all up to you depending on what stop you get off on.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Because there's
because
always
if
going
you
to be problems and always things that will keep us, fearful,
mhm,
down, upset, whatever the case is. Life,
exactly.
life is not all blossoms and, it's hard. It's hard
For
as hell.
sure. For
You
sure. So if you get
Yeah.
off the bus too soon, you're
Yeah.
gonna realize, yo, I got off too soon. I gotta walk another 16 miles.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to seem like it's the hard way or the long way. Where
Yeah.
sometimes you got to have a little faith, a little hope. You know, stay on the bus a little bit longer, and you're going to get to your destination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And happiness is the journey there.
Yeah.
You know, like when you finally get to see your family, you meet for Thanksgiving, and you know you haven't seen them in 3 years. It's everything that happened in the 3 years
Yeah.
that makes me feel like I'm happy to be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. That's really
Yeah.
good. That's a
Hmm.
great way to look at it. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So how
sure.
do you think your upbringing at MHS impacted you now as an adult?
Man, so many ways. Like the list can go on with that. I mean, from just basic domestic things, you
Yeah.
can start there. Like learning, like knowing how to do laundry,
Yeah.
like knowing how to cook, right?
Plastic things is so good. Just said
So
that.
so basic. I
Just
could I
good.
could say a million things, but I'm gonna start there
Yeah.
because I think what I've learned being outside of knowing Hershey, is that everyone wasn't raised the same.
You know.
Right? Everyone was not raised the same. I've seen grown men struggle to cook scrambled eggs, and it
Yeah.
was painful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
painful, right? So it's like, bro, you don't know how to do laundry?
Right.
You're
Right.
like 38. What do you
Yeah.
mean? You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
say I'm most appreciative of those things because it's like, yo, you're 38 and you're putting bleach in colors. What are you doing? You know?
That is great.
Yeah. So that, that that's just something that I appreciate. MHS has taught me those things, those basic domestic things to be as all people should know. Being sanitary, cleaning up after yourself, knowing how to. You, you, you love that right there.
It's so important. It's so
Yeah,
true. Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
yeah. You know what I mean? So, but that, I mean, MHS has done a lot more than that. But I say just instilling the right kind of morals and principles,
Yeah.
right, is goes a long way.
Yeah. It does. It's crazy how much they taught us, like family life, how to really take care of a household. I would
Yeah.
say they definitely taught us those domestic things. I
Mhm.
would say what we were missing in that area is like how to take care of a household is, watching our parents struggle to pay bills or
Yeah.
just watching them pay bills. or keep track of things like that, you know, or watch
Yeah.
them kind of go to work every day. I think what we saw was just everything happening. We didn't see anything happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We were just kind of floating by and being taken care of, but we didn't see what it takes to take care of a family or a household. And
Yeah.
then when we got into the real world and now we're like, oh, there's utilities, you know, rent and bills, and we didn't like none of that. At least for me, I didn't really see that because we didn't see it in our home. Maybe
Yeah.
before going to Milton Hershey, you know, I definitely saw my mom struggling to pay everything. I mean, we were
For
at
sure.
broke and poor as it gets.
Mhm.
So I saw that horrible struggle up until the age of 10. And then I got to
Mhm.
Milton Hershey, and then I saw nothing except we get Nivea, we get cocoa butter, we get everything free, we get
We got,
food, you know, and
yeah.
you have to follow the rules, you know.
Christmas came early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then we got all these awesome experiences. I mean, health, occupation, and
Mhm.
every sport you can imagine, and horsemanship and 4-H, and you know, all
Yeah.
these excursions. But we didn't see what it takes to be able to have the money it takes
Yeah.
to be able to have that stuff, like the work ethic necessary. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Our parents are working; that's their job.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't really show us that part. They couldn't say every day, like, I'm working, you know, this is how you get this food on the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That didn't really click, at least for me, until I got into the real world. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Outside of the dorm life, because I left the dorm life like 6 months into college. I was like,
Hmm.
no more roommates. I
Yeah.
want to be alone, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had to learn, like, oh shit, it's not just rent, it's electricity, it's gas, it's water, it's trash, it's Wi-Fi, it's a phone bill, it's all these things.
Yeah.
So if we could have just gotten that part too, that would have been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Those are definitely some things that, we could have been exposed to a bit more.
Yeah.
Things just like simple things like how to do taxes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. You've seen your parents do taxes, or, how to get car insurance for your own
Right.
car,
Right.
right? Like these kinds of things that we weren't really have, when you're in Milton Hershey, you obviously don't have a car.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have to
Yeah.
drive. You don't have to get gas. You don't have to
Right.
wash your car.
And
You don't have
that
to,
stuff, exactly.
right? Like simple things we do as individuals. But yeah, I mean, those I would agree. Those are the things that we could have probably used.
Yeah.
But that's why I think Hershey has changed as well. I mean,
Oh,
a
so
couple years
much.
after we left, like the transitional living,
Yeah.
like in that experiment, and
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah. And
yeah.
you know what's funny? The more I do these interviews, I've been interviewing a lot of younger classmen. The
Hmm.
more that I'm seeing younger people getting into entrepreneurship earlier and earlier,
Hmm.
like right away. They're just, and and even when I do go back to the school, I think I've gone back to like 2 homecomings since I
Yeah.
graduated. The kids are completely different. Like they're so much more expressive. They have a sense of more confidence. They're
Got you.
more aware, you know,
Hmm.
of life in general. So MHS has grown so far,
For
so
sure.
much in those areas, because you can see it in the kids. And that's when
Yeah.
there's been, you know, an awareness and an understanding, and then some growth, because now you see it in the roots, and the roots are the kids. You know,
Yeah.
see how much better they're doing as a whole. They're not just kind of, you know, moseying around the way we did, just kind of, okay, here's where we go and here's what we do. They're
Yeah.
more aware of everything, you know. Like
Exactly.
for me, MHS had so much to like grab onto and run with, you know, all these. I didn't do health oc, and I didn't
Mhm.
know I could, you know, if I took that, I could be a nurse right away. Like no one taught me the importance of what they offered. I
Understood.
feel kind of like an idiot still, you know.
Hmm.
I didn't understand the value of all that was offered there. If I
Yeah.
were to go back now and redo MHS, I would be in everything. Like every
Yeah.
single thing they offered, I'd be in it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
For
think
sure.
I took a lot of that with me, was like, man, I need to be aware. I need to know how to be resourceful, what's around me, and how to grasp it and take full advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the best way, and you just want to be proactive.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to get after it and just try new things and don't be afraid to fail, you know.
Yeah. So with that said, what advice do you think you'd give your younger self?
Man, I have like a scroll, it'll just like keep rolling, you know.
That's the vlogger in you to constantly give.
Yeah, that's a fact. Advice I give to my younger self. I'd say invest a little bit more of your time into the thing that's going to help you build your future. And that's just like, I think it's something so simple. Like, I wouldn't say I want to change everything about what's happened previously, but I think just like sometimes having time to yourself to do things for yourself will ultimately get you further.
Yeah.
You know, as I think as we're younger, like, you know, late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, we're so consumed by what our friends are doing or what the cool thing is or where we think we should be, you know. And I think sometimes you just have to experiment a little bit more, right? But you can't experiment if you're always up underneath your friends.
Right.
You're always doing what they're doing. You guys always hanging. Yeah, going with the crowd. Like, sometimes you have to experiment things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when I started traveling places by myself, like, it's different. Some people won't even go to the movies by themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So to travel by themselves is like nerve-wracking.
Right.
Right. So like, once I started doing things by myself, I started appreciating alone time, solidarity, right? A little bit of isolation. Like, I would go to a bar by myself and just go sit, you know, have a drink, because then you're in a position where then you have to be more social.
Right.
You can have a conversation with somebody next to you for 20 minutes and then leave.
Right. Right.
Right. Like, most people want to go to the movies with other people. When you go to the movies, you don't talk to anyone.
Right. Right.
You, if anything, they eat all your popcorn. Right. And it's just like, so like, I've learned to do things for myself and by myself. So I appreciate them even more when I'm with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. So the second to last question.
Yeah.
What's your overall vision for your legacy and your future generations?
My legacy. My legacy for the future generations would be to, you know, just help people see that the life that they have now could be so much better. It can be improved by 10 if they're just willing to commit to something. If they decide that they want to do something, put their mind to it. It sounds so cliche.
Yeah.
And you say you could be anything you put your mind to.
Right.
But honestly, I'm gonna take a different approach. Like, if you really reverse engineer, figure out something that you want to do, but that gives you passion, that you're passionate. When you wake up, you're like, I gotta get going.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if you don't have that feeling when you wake up, that's not it.
Right.
Right. So having that fire inside of you, knowing, because we all have it. It might be that one thing, but that thing should wake you up in the morning and constantly drive you to say, yeah, I need to get better at this, because it's that attitude that allows you to create balance and want to get better in everything else and come full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
And
then lastly, this is a big question. What does being a Milt mean to you?
Oh man, this is the toughest question of all. Other than like Spartan, you see I got my Spartan joint back here.
Is that what that is? I thought that was part of the lamp. I didn't see the helmet.
It is a lamp. It is a lamp.
A lamp. Oh my God. So did you had that?
My house father, shout out to Mr. Boyd, George Boyd, Nana Cook, you already know. He made this for me when we left. So, you know, I was a captain of the football squad, but I always loved, you know, the helmets. So he made, you know, a helmet into a lamp for us.
How cool is that? Wow, and you've had it all these years? That is so cool. I had it.
Yeah, that's one of my most prized possessions for sure.
That is great.
And even when I'm at one point, I'll probably like take the lamp off and probably like frame the helmet.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like that right now, you can't just go to the football locker and like, let me get a helmet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. So
Right.
that's definitely, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, for sure. So what does a Milt mean to me? Means family, means understanding,
Yeah.
means, empathy, means sharing, means caring, means love, means, potential, means, commitment, sacrifice, right? Good thing you just asked me for one word, because I just said about 10. But all those things definitely reign true, and especially sacrifice on our parts and our families,
Yeah. Oh, that's so
sure.
good. Yeah, that's so true. Wow. That's really good. That's the first time I heard anybody say that, sacrifice.
Yeah.
It is true. We did sacrifice a lot as kids. Our families sacrificed a lot.
You only get one childhood.
Only
you don't get to relive your childhood.
Yeah.
Right. So that is it's very like Milton Hershey knew. You could potentially, these are kids. These are not even your kids we're talking about.
Right.
Like, these are their futures.
Yeah.
So if you don't get it right, like, you know what I mean? It's not a good look, but they got it right. And but at the end of the day, it's really about the individual. Right?
Yeah.
The school provides us with that, because a lot of people have left Hershey and have went up, left, north, south, east, west. Right? It's all about the decisions that we make, you know. Yeah.
And how you've taken your experiences,
For sure. Everyone takes it differently.
Exactly. Yeah. People take their experiences and say, overall, it was negative and, it didn't benefit me and I'm not going to learn from it. Or you can say, overall, it was hard, but it definitely benefited me and I'm going to grow from it. And like for me, I had a pretty hard time at MHS. Like I had 4 different sets of house parents. I had a big problem with authority. I did really great in school, and all my activities and things like that, I did great in. I was super happy when I was at school. But anytime I was in the student home, I was never happy. I was only happy with one set of house parents. They were phenomenal, and they made me feel like they actually cared. But the other 3, I was never happy. I always felt kind of like omitted, and I kind of felt like they picked on me a little bit more than some of the other girls. But again, I also had an issue with authority. But even with all of that, I look back and I'm like, I would never have had it any other way, because before Milton Hershey was even worse. I mean, if we would have stayed in the upbringing that we had before Milton Hershey, I would probably be dead and on drugs or in jail with 0 education, way worse of a situation. And now back as an adult, now I have so much empathy and understanding for all those house parents, because they sacrificed. Like, I don't know that I would ever want to be a house parent. Ever. That's a huge sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And especially if you have your own kids, raising your kids and 12 to 14 other kids is hard.
For sure.
So much trauma and so many unique backgrounds, in different stages of their life. And now you're there to be a parent figure plus an authoritative figure. It's hard.
Of course. Think about all the Christmases and Thanksgivings they missed with their immediate families and wherever they lived previously, right? Yeah, for sure. Incredible.
Yeah. I love that word that you used, sacrifice, to be part of Milt. It's big, because it's family and all those things that usually most people will say, but we can't forget about the sacrifice on all parts.
On all parts. Like, because when like you said, when Christmas came early, you started to get these things from Hershey. You started to like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Lotion, deodorant, wow.
Right. And then you're like, oh, but the trade-off is that I have to make it through this by myself.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's the trade-off. Like,
lots of
we'll give you everything you need, but you have to be mentally strong enough to get through this by yourself, and no one else is going to get you through it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think you and I got there around the same age. I was 10, you were 11.
Yeah.
Years, but around the same time in our life. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a crucial time.
It is a crucial time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right before you really figure out who you are.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So before we jump off of here, I want you to give everybody any handles, social media handles that you have, websites,
Yeah.
your YouTube platform, just so people have it. I'm going to put it in the description too.
Yeah.
But definitely shout it out for people so that they can jump on and subscribe.
Oh, for sure. Well, everybody, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been a great time here with the one and only Ms. Habayu. And we've had a great time discussing. I want you guys to try to check out my channel. I have amazing content. You can go to YouTube and type in, Kels Acosta, Kelsacosta. Same for Instagram, same for Twitter. Kelsie Steele on Facebook. Definitely want you guys to, to come by, check out the content. Make sure you, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. I'll be traveling. I'll be doing food reviews here in New York City. So if you guys like food like I do, we'll be doing it, big. So thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. I hope to see you guys soon on the channel for sure.
Awesome. So good. And it was really great talking to you, Kelsie. And hopefully, once I get out there, I just did my second vaccine on Friday. So hopefully I get to start traveling soon. It's a little bit tough with a toddler, but maybe you can give us some insight on that.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, for sure. Toddler, but I'm sure you know.
Things to do in New York City with kids. I got it. I gotta make a video with that. I got you.
That would be great.
Yeah.
All right. It was great talking to you. I'll talk
Absolutely.
to you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.